Human history has a funny way of hiding its most fascinating characters right in plain sight. Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a life lived at absolute extremes. We're talking about a man who somehow balanced the roaring crowds and pure momentum of world-class athletics with an incredibly quiet, devastatingly observant literary mind. It's a real documentary-style look into the duality of speed and stillness. Let's get into it.
Looks like a white candle in her old age. Just let those words sit with you for a second. It's such a haunting, delicate, and deeply visual piece of imagery, isn't it? Even before we reveal who actually wrote this down, the sheer vulnerability captured in that one single phrase just completely demands our attention.
Which brings us to part one of our journey today, the white candle, a haunting metaphor. Okay, let's dive into this. The subject of our focus today is the poet Joseph Campbell. Now, an unassuming biographical record preserves his legacy, but let me tell you, right beneath that standard introduction lies a narrative of just brilliant contradictions.
So Joseph Campbell was born in 1906 in White Plains, New York. We're looking at a figure who came into the world right at the dawn of the 20th century, setting the stage for a pretty incredible life.
Moving on to part two, a man of duality, speed versus stillness.
He achieved this really unique trifecta. Campbell literally won name and fame in three totally distinct arenas: as a writer, a poet, and an athlete. I mean, think about it. It's incredibly rare to find a single person who reaches the absolute pinnacle of public recognition in disciplines that require such vastly different kinds of energy. He somehow mastered the intellect, the soul, and the physical body all at once. This perfectly illustrates his extreme duality. On the one hand, you have the athlete, right? He was literally among the fastest half-mile runners in the entire world. Picture the explosive power, the roaring crowds, the sheer velocity required for that. But then you flip the script, and you have the poet, a man who quietly, so intimately describes the fragile old age of a woman. You've got world-class physical speed existing in the exact same mind that captured ultimate, fading stillness. It's just wild.
Here we go into part three, the first words, building a literary legacy.
When we trace his timeline, this really fascinating arc emerges. Like we said, born in 1906, his youth is totally defined by reaching that insane athletic peak, a world-class half-mile runner, just a complete blur of motion. But then, as he moves into adulthood, that physical speed starts to transition into a very different kind of endurance. It all culminates in his later years with a poetry collection that basically strips away all the noise of the world, focusing entirely on the most intimate human experiences. His first published work was actually titled Where the Two Came to Their Father. And this right here, this was the crucial pivot point. This title marks the definitive moment where his legacy officially shifted from the fleeting, temporary records of the running track over to the permanent, enduring ink of the written page. He basically traded the stopwatch for the printing press. Which brings us to our final chapter, Part 4, Vanishing Beauty, Meditations on Age. From that collection comes a poem titled simply, The Old Woman. It's a title completely without pretense. It focuses so intimately on the sheer physical reality of aging, which, as we know, is a reality that inevitably comes to all of us.
The beauty of a woman vanishes. There's this profound, almost tragic inevitability to that statement. Think about it. The very man who spent his youth trying to literally outrun the clock as a world-class sprinter is right here, fully acknowledging that time eventually catches up to everything. The physical form, no matter how beautiful or how incredibly fast it once was, ultimately has to yield to time.
And that leads us right back to that breathtaking visual we started with, the white candle. It's such a striking comparison used by Campbell to describe how a woman looks in her old age. But let's look at the poetic logic here for a second. A candle is made of wax that slowly melts away, right? It's fragile, it's pale, it stands perfectly still, and it's quietly consumed by its own flame. What an absolutely stunning contrast to the intense, kinetic heat of a young athlete's body in motion. He uses the absolute stillness of a melting candle to articulate
Poet Joseph Campbell. Birth 1906 in White Plains, New York. Professions: writer, poet, and athlete, noted as one of the fastest half-mile runners in the world. first published work, where the two came to their father. About the poem, The Old Woman. Source, taken from his collection of poems. Theme, describes the old age of a woman, depicting how her youthful beauty vanishes and comparing her appearance in old age to a white candle. Sentence. About the poet, Joseph Campbell. शायर का तारुफ, Joseph Campbell. Birth, 1906 in White Plains, New York. पैदाइश, 1906 आम White Plains, New York में हुई. Professions, writer, poet and athlete, noted as one of the fastest half-mile runners in the world. पेशा वराना जिंदगी, वो एक मुसन्निफ, शायर और खिलाड़ी थे, जिनका शुमार दुनिया के तेज तरीन हाफ माइल रनर्स में होता था. First published work, Where the Two Came to Their Father. पहली मतबूआ तख्लीक, Where the Two Came to Their Father. Where the Two Came to Their Father. About the poem, The Old Woman. नज़्म का तारुफ, The Old Woman. बढ़िया औरत. Source, taken from his collection of poems. माखज़, ये नज़्म उनके शेरी मजमूए से माखूज है. Theme, describes the old age of a woman, depicting how her youthful beauty vanishes and comparing her appearance in old age to a white candle. मरकज़ी ख़याल, ये नज़्म एक औरत की बुढ़ापे की हालत को बयान करती है, जिसमें ये दिखाया गया है कि किस तरह उसका शबाब मांद पड़ जाता है और बुढ़ापे में उसकी हैयत को एक सफ़ेद मोमबत्ती से तशबीह दी गई है. Vocabulary reference table. English word, English synonym. Urdu translation, माना, birth. Nativity, origin, पैदाइश, professions. Occupations, careers. पेशा वराना खिदमात, शोबे, athlete. Sportsman, competitor. खिलाड़ी, athlete, published. Printed, issued. मतबूआ, शायाशुदा, source. Origin, provenance. मखज़, ज़रिया, collection. Anthology, compilation. मजमुआ, theme. मादूम हो जाता है, मांद पड़ जाता है, appearance. Aspect, demeanor. ज़ाहिर हियत, शक्ल सूरत.